Hi, I'm Robert from Master Guitar Academy. Let me tell you a little story. When I was 13 years old, I started playing guitar. I wanted to play the riffs on my heroes, and of course I learned Smoke on the Water and Stairway to Heaven. Then later, I found myself in a band, playing songs. I wasn't good enough to copy the original solos, so I tried to do the best with what I had. The problem was that I hadn't figured out where the notes are on the fretboard. So what happened was that I would play some lick or line and then try to finish on a good note. What do you think the statistics were on that? Well, I didn't keep a spreadsheet, but because I didn't know where all the notes are on the guitar, I screwed up a lot. Many times ending on a really bad note or just plain getting lost on the fretboard. It was frustrating. So I'm going to show you a great way to find where the notes are on the fretboard. We're going to do this by relying on octave patterns. This is a way to visually map out where the octaves are on the guitar. It's a very helpful and effective way of learning one note at a time, all over the fingerboard. And this is something you should do for a few minutes every day. When you do, you'll find that after a few weeks, you'll know where these notes are, all across the fretboard. I know that guitar playing can be a frustrating experience sometimes. If that frustration comes from not knowing where the notes are on the fretboard, do yourself a favor and immediately start practicing what I'm about to teach you. The good news is that there are only 5 octave patterns that you need to learn. So, let's get started. Now, let's take a look at the 5 octave patterns. We are going to learn the note C, as in coconut. And we have to have a starting point. And I think a lot of people know that the note C is located on the A string on the 3rd fret. And this is a starting point for pattern number 1. You start on the A string, you go down towards the floor, 3 strings, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 frets towards the headstock, 1, 2. So we have the note C here and here. So the notes are on the A string and the B string. Here is pattern number 2. The starting point is the same as the last pattern. The note C on the A string on the 3rd fret. Now we go down towards the floor, 2 strings, 1, 2, and then 2 frets towards your picking hand, 1, 2. The notes are we're playing the A string and G string. Here is pattern number 3. Now we actually have 3 notes because we use both of the E strings. And you can see that the note C is here. And you know that because it was part of the previous pattern. So we move the hand up, play that same note now with the index finger. Then we go towards the ceiling, 3 strings, 1, 2, 3. And then 3 frets towards the picking hand, 1, 2, 3. Now we have C here, and we have C here. And we also have C here, because it's located on the same frets when you play the E strings. Here's pattern number 4. It shares 2 notes with pattern 3. The new note is now on the D string. So if we start on the lower E string, we go down towards the floor, 2 strings, and then 2 frets towards your picking hand. And we have it right here. And compare that to pattern number 3. And you can see that these 2 notes are the same. And finally, here is pattern number 5. The starting note is part of the previous pattern, number 4. So we're starting on that note on the D string. We go down towards the floor, 2 strings, and then 3 frets towards your picking hand. 1, 2, 3. And we have C right there. And there we have covered the 5 octave patterns. What you should do next is to practice these patterns with a metronome. Pick a note, let's say G, play 1 pattern. You can start on whichever one you like, and then you play 1 note at a time, back and forth a few times. Then you move up or down and play the next octave pattern. Keep doing this until you start seeing where the notes are anywhere on the fretboard. It's going to work, I promise. You just have to sit down and do this daily until you get it. Just a few minutes per day will eventually make it stick in here long term. 1, 2, 3, 4. I recommend you do this about 10 minutes per day. Only move to a new note once you can go between all 5 octave patterns without making mistakes. The thing is, when you work on learning notes this way, you'll become very, very confident on where they are. And this is going to help you immensely when it comes to learning things like scales, triads, arpeggios. The same goes for lead guitar and rhythm guitar. You'll always be able to find the root notes for the chords, and you won't feel like you're always getting lost anytime you try to be creative. In other words, the fretboard becomes your friend, or maybe we should call it a well-known place filled with friendly faces. Now, I have a course on fretboard navigation that you may want to take a look at. It's actually a 2-in-1 course. First, we practice finding the 7 natural notes, one at a time, all over the fretboard. Secondly, we learn 2 licks in each of the 7 keys that you learned in the first part. The result is you'll have 14 reusable licks that you can play in any of the 7 keys, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The course is over 3.5 hours long, so there's lots of material to work on. All right, I hope you found this useful. Let me know in the comments. Please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Take care, and I'll see you next time.